Hello, everyone. I am beaming in again today live to be with you. We are in this very magical, potent portal right before our winter solstice. Entering into December, we just had this lunar eclipse that for many of us, we felt it, this time of new beginnings and endings and intensity ramping up towards the solstice. Though I'm not an astrologer, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. I just want to say this is a really special time to do your inner work and your shadow work and your light work. And I am devoted to just weaving my golden thread into that new design, the world we're creating together, heart first. So if you are here with me, give me a little wave, give me a like, let me know if you can see me. Last time I accidentally came in live and it was set to only me instead of public. So I was all by my lonesome, and it is definitely juicier when we're together and I can feel that reciprocity. So if you catch this, just let me know you're here and I'll just keep on keeping on until I see you. So I wanted to share a little bit of a transmission or download from the goddess, as we kind of awakening women like to say, yay, it's working. I'm not all by my lonesome. Fantastic. So I come in today to share a transmission. I'm actually inspired to share about a dream I recently had, a part of a dream that was really, really symbolic and powerful. And then to weave that into a little bit of a transmission for you to see if you can kind of relate to this concept that I'm going to touch on. Hey, I love you too. So the other night I had a dream. I think that I might have already told my beloved sister who just beamed in. I had a dream from a really, really high up in the sky perspective of looking down on an eagle. And the eagle was soaring and was doing these like giant spiraling circles, catching a thermal. And I was so high up that I could see a vast view from above, but very precise, like clear vision. Every feather on the eagle's back was clear, as if I was right near it. And then I could see below the eagle the shadow that the eagle was actually casting on the ground as it was soaring around and around. And the interesting part was that the shadow wasn't a normal shadow. It wasn't like a gray or a black shadow. It was a multicolored, intricately designed shadow. The shadow of the eagle flying on the ground was like one of those like Native American weavings, or I don't know exactly what they're called. The ayahuasca shamans, they do these icaros and the weavings of the medicine that's in the field almost vibrationally. So they were the shadow of the eagle was multicolored, and it was kind of this beautiful sacred geometry pattern. And I heard in my dream, eagle dream kachina, which is a Hopi word. So later, when I woke up, I looked up what an eagle kachina is. And the Hopis, they have this tradition of kachina dancers coming into the town square and performing in wild costumes for the people. And they scare the children and they make people laugh. And they don't necessarily tell stories with words like we tell a story to our child, bedtime story. They dance it and they act it out, and they do this ritual theater that transmits something to the people, teachings, and sometimes it's like, coyote medicine, making them laugh, making them forget their fears and frustrations, just bringing levity. And the eagle kachina is the kachina dancer that's known to bring messages from the divine or the heavens to the Hopi, and messages from the Hopi back to the heavens. So I was contemplating this dream, and I was thinking about these kind of three layers. There's the witness, there's the eagle that's soaring, kind of peacefully, free soaring in the sky. And then there's this very detailed, multicolored shadow dancing on the ground. And as I sat with the dream about these kind of three worlds, I thought about how we are the witness, the one that is watching ourselves. There's a part of our consciousness that's constantly recording and witnessing neutrally. And then there's the doer. There's just the one that is heart is beating and we're walking, we're doing, we're being. And then there's the storyteller, the one that is like creating the meaning and telling the stories. And a lot of times some of that activity is more of like what we think, what we project. So we're projecting it like that shadow in the ground. We are the projector as well. And this feels really relevant for me right now because there are so many stories that we are weaving collectively about what's going on right now, who we are, what humanity is going through, what is real. And these stories can be quite rich and colorful, and sometimes they bring us a lot of joy. There's stories that bring us a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and then there's stories that bring us a lot of fear and a lot of sorrow and a lot of disempowerment. And I'd like to invite, when I was thinking about what to share today, the phrase practices to dispel fear came up. And I was thinking of the word dispel, and it's kind of like to take away a spell, to make it vanish, to drive it apart, to break it up, to transmute it, right? To get rid of it. And when I was thinking about why it's so important to have these practices, I'm aware that we're consuming and taking in so many stories, so many spells, so much information recently with this, being connected to our digital devices pretty constantly and getting a lot of other people's narratives, other people's realities, that it's challenging for us to feel and to return to that simple being, and then to activate that witness who's observing neutrally, like empty blue sky mind. And it is when we're actually present and in our being, or even in that greater vast witnessing, that we return to what I like to call homeostasis, or a state of peace, a state of high functioning, a higher vibration, more expansive. So this is the inspiration for me to come in and share a little bit. I'm just tuning in. Welcome, Kathleen, Natalia, Marina. So good to see you. So as we work with our own thoughts, we're being given this invitation to ask, is it real? Is it mine? Is it serving me? And I like to think about this as the watcher or the witness starting to really take more of a front seat. And I know Kathleen, who's here with me, welcome, Kimberly. Kathleen was sharing with me this beautiful transmission from my fairy godmother about empty presence and what it is to really rest in that open, empty listening and witnessing. And from there, we are more at choice. We become more causal rather than at the effect, buffeted around by the mental static, the emotional waves, and even the physical contractions that ensue when we are caught in a narrative that we could call negative or scary. So our suffering and most of this kind of fear lives in our mind, not our body and our heart. This is a function of the part of our brain that is trying to survive, and ultimately served us really, really well when we were needing to take quick action to survive, self-preservation. The reptilian brain was programmed with fight and flight and flee. Well, that's flight, freeze, hide. So we've had this for a long, long time as a way of surviving. And now what I'm inviting is that we start to activate the higher function of our mind, the part of our mind that actually can witness and ask, is this real? Is this even mine? Is this serving me? And I'm talking about our thoughts. I'm talking about our projections and our reflections, those passing thought forms that seem to sometimes ruminate. We can catch ourselves in obsessive loops of, oh, what's going to happen? And we feel disempowered as we're caught in repetitive thought cycles that deplete our life force energy. So how do we dispel fear? So I'd like to give a few practices today when I was thinking about these phrases: dispel fear, clear mental static, calm the emotion, and raise your vibration. It's not that each practice works on one of those things. Once you are doing any of those things, once you are raising your vibration, you're automatically calming your emotions, clearing your mental static, and dispelling fear. And it goes the same for the others. So these practices do all of these things. And I'd like to start with a very simple practice. So your body is it's just like the blessing to have this body as this feeling body navigator. And often we can look at our structure and see patterns in consciousness. So when we are contracted in fear, mental static, intense emotional waves, caught in those narratives and those stories that are depleting us and making us feel disempowered, our vibration is compromised. And usually you can see it. You can see the slump in the shoulders, the head jutting forward, the tail tucking, and there's a lot of extra mental activity in the front, in the lobes. So we're going to let our heads come back and roll the shoulders back and lift the heart. So this is a structural change. So lifting your heart chakra, letting the crown of your head actually come back and feeling the alignment of your spine, and letting your tail soften and your root soften, and feel your feet. Welcome. So your structure is a really big key, alignment. There's a lot of ways that this comes up in yogic practices, and why yoga is actually to prepare the body to be able to house more energy and to meditate, and for your kundalini to rise eventually. This is, path of awakening the subtle currents. So now that you have your spine in alignment, just take a moment and feel your back body. We're often very front body oriented. Feel a little bit like, oh, that's my back body. Breathe into your back body. Feel those areas behind your third chakra, your kidneys and your adrenals. When we're stressed, we're usually really taxing our adrenals. And I'm going to invite you to bring more oxygen, more prana into your belly, and especially the kidney adrenal area. You can even hold your hands on your lower ribs. See if you can breathe laterally and expand the back body. If you connect your inhalation, your exhalation, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is a clearing breath. Pranayama is another wonderful tool. So let's do it 3 times, consciously connected, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in with me. Really pulling it up from below. Oxygenating your body, expanding, coming back to the present moment. When we are in our bodies present, you can keep that breath going as I keep talking. Just keep that connected breath. When you are in your breath, connecting your breath, a really good mantra to add to that, which I have learned through a fantastic book from years ago, The Presence Process. The mantra that works with the breath is I on the inhalation, am on the exhalation, here, now, in this. So whatever this is, this feeling, this moment, this body, this situation, just to really breathe with it, accept it, feel it, integrate it, alchemize it, come back to your embodied presence. So as you get your structure, one, alignment, really get the crown of the head back, the tail soft, release any contraction, the heart lifts forward, then oxygenate, really oxygenating the body, connecting the breath. And then you can add the simple, simple mantra. I am here now in this. I recommend doing it twice a day, even if you're not freaking out, even if you're not in a moment of high anxiety or stress, to incorporate this practice and find out how it starts to work its way into your normal activities and life when you're not mentally preoccupied. Fear lives in our thoughts, in our mind, and then it contracts the body and dumps a bunch of chemicals into our body that are preparing us for fight and flight when it's not necessary. High levels of stress deplete our adrenals and release cortisone, which then affects our digestion and our bellies. So to down-regulate our nervous system, dispel fear, clear mental static, calm your emotions, and raise your vibration. Think of your spine like the rod and the staff. It's spoken about in spiritual literature. Thy staff and thy rod comfort me. When we're flowing, when we're in alignment, that divine ecstatic energy can flow through us again and release tension and nervous energy. When your heart is forward, we're living heart first. We're not in that tuck tail, head forward. Heart forward consciousness. What would love say? What would love do? What does love choose? Really orienting with embodying more of your full presence as love, as a heart-centered being, a feeling body navigator, rather than an egoic mental navigator. We're shifting into this greater aura of our heart. The electromagnetic field of the heart is much greater than that of the brain. The brain is a great servant to the spirit. It's a receiving tool, receiving information. When we get caught up in loops, we need to dispel, cast away, clear, and vanish those bad spells. Dispel fear. Step through. I'm going to give you an extra practice now. Mudra. Mudra seals and amplifies energy. The right hand takes the first finger together with a thumb. Vajra consciousness, diamond mind clarity, concentration, piercing through illusion, piercing through fear. The left hand cups, receiving, resting, surrendering, back body. This is Kuan Yin or Tara Mudra. You also see many statues of Buddha with the cupped hand and the diamond mind clarity, pushing through, stepping through, and where fear was, nothing remains, again and again and again. Thought forms, mental projections, other people's stories, no thank you. Dispel, that's your trip, that's your story. So we can feel moment to moment what's true for us as a sovereign being. I move from the truth of my own heart knowing each moment as a sovereign being. Feel that in your body, piercing through illusion, piercing through fear, breathing the belly, back body awareness, alignment. I step through and move from the truth of my own heart knowing, moment by moment. I hope these practices serve you. They are meant to be repeated, not done once here with me. So I'm going to go over them again. Notice, start to activate the witness, the big sky mind in my dream that I spoke about earlier, the one that's watching. What's happening with your posture down there, little one? Oh yeah, I'm doing that thing. Okay. I am back in my center, in my core integrity, integrated and aligned. My heart's on board. I'm leading heart first. Okay, where's your breath? deeper. When you're breathing shallowly or holding your breath, you are in your mental body projection of worries and anxiety of the future, or ruminating and obsessing about the past. When you're fully here, oxygenating your body, breathing and feeling, you are here, present in your body. And if you want to potentize that, really anchor it with the mantra, I am here now in this. Give yourself 15 minutes of that. See how that affects your blue sky mind. That'll step forward and not let the shadow dancer drive. Even though it's fun to be storytellers and to look at all the patterns and the pretty pictures, in my dream I'm talking about the one witnessing the eagle soaring and the projection of the shadow on the ground and the intricacies of that shadow. So watch our stories, our projections, our words, what we are giving form to through thought, word, and then action. When we're present, open, listening, receptive, witnessing, our choices are going to be a lot more discerning and aligned, moving moment to moment from the truth of our heart knowing. I hope you found this useful. I'm just tuning in, seeing who's here. Oh, nice to see you. Yay. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, there's a lot. Trusting our heart knowing. We're tuning into the same channel, Marguerite. Beautiful to see you here, sister. Yes, rumination gets in the way of the love vibration, Marguerite. That's a really great one. So when I was thinking about the word dispel, that came up really strongly because it feels like these multitude of narratives and all the what ifs and other people's storylines are in a way like we have more mental static than ever before. We're all so connected, which is a wonderful aspect of technology. And I would just like to add at the end of this call that there is no stopping the turning of the ages, and the technology will shift and change for our benefit as we become more heart-centered beings. So this age, this great turning is happening. And a lot of the fears we have about technology are going to be dispelled as we awaken together, as the collective heart of humanity awakens. Then we will find ourselves having a lot of natural technologies that we used to have in the other ages. There's a beautiful myth about the return of Estrella, the return of the Star Maiden. She was here, supposedly the myth says she was the last immortal to leave the planet and leave humanity when the Bronze Age turned to the Iron Age because of the density of vibration in the Dark Ages. She could not withstand it for her own being, and witnessing the corruption, the violence, the greed, the wickedness of humanity at that time. I'm thinking about like the medieval Dark Age time. And we're turning out of this dark age and we're coming up, and some like to think of it in terms of the age of the Piscean age turning into the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is all about the collective awakening and technology and real like opening of our channels together here. So we continue to weave the golden threads across this portal, this birth canal, and the turning of these ages. And my prayer is that we come back to the heart as soon as we notice, as we activate that witness, coming back and just weaving those golden threads together, especially from now until the solstice. Use your practices, use your amazing ability to connect, to ground to Mother Earth, to connect to the highest high, to clear that channel. Remember that alignment. Thy staff and thy rod comfort me. Kundalini rising, flowing, involution and ascension. We are here awakening. Love you all so, so much. So happy to see friends and beloveds on this call today. So beautiful to be with you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'll be beaming back in another time or two before the solstice, and then I'd love to really amplify these threads on that epic portal with you. Much, much love.